This is an AI Run Battletech RPG based off of the D6 adventure system. I hope you enjoy the adventure. This sounds like a fantastic setup. The Battletech universe, the inner sphere or periphery, is perfect for a gritty, industrial D6 adventure. The company town dynamic adds layers of political intrigue and moral ambiguity to the standard combat. Part 2, The Setting. Planet, Dunnigan's Rock, a dreary, resource-rich world in the periphery. The corporation, Ascendancy Heavy Industries, AHI. The situation, AHI owns the mines, the geothermal power plant, the hospital, and the housing. If you don't work for AHI, you don't eat. Recently, a rebel group known as the Free Miners has been sabotaging infrastructure, and the corporate executives are demanding you crack down hard. Part 3, The Opening Scene. Location, Sector 4 Security Hub, overlooking the main refinery gate. Time, 0400 hours. Heavy rain. You are sitting in the dispatch office, the coffee in your mug tasting like burnt copper. The shift was supposed to be quiet, but the sensors on the perimeter fence of the refinery are flashing amber. Your rookie partner, a kid named Jensen, fresh out of the academy, no combat experience, looks at the monitor nervously. "Sir," Jensen stammers, adjusting his pristine uniform. "Seismic sensors just picked up movement in the storm drain output near the north wall. It's too heavy for a rat, but too light for a battle mech. Maybe 4 or 5 individuals. Protocol says we call it into Central Command and wait for a heavy response team, but Central is offline for routine server maintenance for another 20 minutes. If these are saboteurs, they could breach the coolant seal before Central comes back online. What is your character's name, and what do you do?" Grab your rifle and take the jeep. You and Jensen handle this personally. Action/combat. B. Attempt to hail the intruders via the PA system and intimidate them. Social/intimidation. C. Wake up the off-duty heavy security team in the barracks next door. It'll take time, but you'll have backup. Tactical/caution. D. Use the remote camera network to get a visual ID before moving. Investigation/perception. The character's name is Charles Bishop. I'm going to be piggish and say I want both the rifle and pistol. Lastly, I grab the rifle and off we go. Charles Bishop it is. A solid name for a man who has seen too much combat to trust corporate efficiency. And regarding the gear, in the periphery, piggish is just another word for prepared. You strap the Sunbeam laser pistol to your hip and sling the heavy federated Barrett M42B over your shoulder. The weight is comforting. Grab your helmet, Jensen. We're rolling, you growl. Jensen fumbles with his maglocks, clearly terrified, but he hops into the passenger seat of the open-topped utility jeep, a rugged flatbed truck variant used by security. You gun the electric engine, tires spinning in the mud before gripping the pavement. You tear through the industrial sector, rain lashing against the windshield. The massive cooling towers of the geothermal plant loom overhead like tombstones, venting steam that mixes with the downpour. You kill the headlights about 200 meters from the north wall to avoid giving away your position, rolling to a stop behind a stack of shipping crates. The storm drain output is a massive concrete maw about 50 meters ahead. The grate has been cut open with a laser torch, the edges are still glowing faintly orange in the thermal scope. The situation, visibility is terrible due to the heavy rain and steam. You know they are there, but you can't see exactly how many or how they are armed yet. Jensen is clutching his light pistol with white knuckles. "Do you see them, sir?" he whispers, his voice cracking. Please roll for perception, 3D+1. You can roll physically, use a dice app, or simply ask me to roll for you. If you roll, just give me the total. Modifiers. Rain/darkness, +5 to difficulty number. Target number, difficulty 15, moderate plus rain, to get a clear count and identify weapons. 10 just to see shapes. Rolling for perception, 3D+1.
Dice, 5, 3, 4.
+1 pip. Total, 13. Result, you meet the difficulty of 10, shape/movement, but miss the higher difficulty of 15, clear ID/weapon count. You squint through the rain-streaked visor of your helmet. The thermal signature is muddy because of the steam venting from the pipes, but you spot movement. You see 3 distinct silhouettes moving near the cut grate. Target 1 and 2, they are hunched over, hauling a heavy, boxy object between them, almost certainly a satchel charge or a hacking deck. They are moving into the drain tunnel. Target 3, standing guard near the entrance. You can see the outline of a long coat and a weapon, but you can't tell if it's a simple autorifle or something nastier like a PPC carbine. You didn't spot a fourth, but the shadows are deep. Jensen unholsters his weapon, the barrel shaking. I see 3. Do we light them up? They are about to disappear into the tunnel system which leads directly under the main geothermal turbine. If they detonate something under there, half the town loses power, and AHI loses millions. What is your move? A. Take the shot. You and Jensen open fire from cover. You have the element of surprise. Ranged combat dexterity. B. Hold fire. We rush them. Drive the jeep right up to the grate, using the vehicle as a battering ram/shield to close the distance for close quarters engagement. Vehicle ops mechanical. C. Flank right. You send Jensen to the left to make noise while you creep up the right side to get a clean shot at the guard, target 3, from behind. Sneak perception/agility. D. The diplomatic approach, sort of. Fire a warning shot into the metal grate and order them to surrender, hoping to take a prisoner for interrogation. Intimidation knowledge. Rolling for SALTH, using dexterity 3D plus 2.
Dice 6, 4, 5.
Plus 2 pips. Total, 17. Difficulty, 15, moderate plus rain/debris, result, success. You grab Jensen's shoulder, squeezing hard enough to rattle his teeth. Go left, you hiss. Kick a barrel, yell a challenge, just get their eyes on you. Do not get shot. Jensen nods, pale as a sheet, and scuttles off into the darkness to the left. You move right, keeping low behind a line of rusted pipes. The rain creates a deafening background noise, masking the sound of your boots in the mud. You are a ghost. You are mechanized infantry, you've stalked through worse conditions than a corporate drainpipe. Seconds later, Jensen's voice cracks through the storm. Ahi security. Drop your weapons. The effect is immediate. Target 3, the guard, spins around, raising his rifle toward Jensen's position. He shouts something unintelligible to the 2 men hauling the box into the tunnel. You step out from behind the pipes. You are less than 10 meters behind the guard. He has no idea you are there. His back is completely exposed, and the other 2 in the tunnel are distracted by Jensen. You have the initiative. What do you do? The professional takedown, use the M42B rifle to put a single, clean shot into the guard's back. Ranged combat easy difficulty due to surprise. B. Silent and brutal, holster the rifle and rush him for a brawling takedown to capture him quietly. Strength/brawling moderate difficulty. C. The spray, open fire on the 2 men in the tunnel first. They are the ones with the bomb/package, the guard is just a distraction now. Ranged combat, moderate difficulty due to movement/cover. D. Freeze, you have him dead to rights. Intimidate him into dropping the weapon so you can take him prisoner. Intimidation, moderate difficulty. Rolling for SLUGTHROWERS, M42B rifle, 5D plus 2.
Dice 6, 3, 5, 2, 4.
Wild die, the 6 explodes. Re-roll, 3. Plus 2 pips. Total, 25. Difficulty, 15, moderate plus rain, result, critical success. You ignore the guard standing 5 feet from you, trusting your armor and your gut. You shoulder the heavy federated Barrett, the recoil pad digging into your wet jacket, and unleash a 3-round burst directly into the tunnel mouth. Thud thud thud. The shots are surgical. The rounds tear through the rear saboteur, the one holding the back end of the heavy box. He crumples instantly, his leg and lower back shattered. Clang. The heavy device hits the concrete floor of the tunnel. The second saboteur, realizing the weight is gone and his partner is down, panics. He doesn't reach for a weapon, he scrambles deeper into the darkness of the pipe, abandoning his comrade in the package. The reaction, the guard, Target 3, who was aiming at Jensen, hears the roar of your rifle directly behind his ear. He spins around, eyes wide with terror. He's holding his sawed-off shotgun, and he's less than 3 meters away from you. He screams, ambush, and blindly levels the shotgun at your chest. You have a split second before he pulls the trigger. The soak, trust your ablative flak vest. You don't have time to dodge, you just stand your ground and put a round in him before he can pump the action for a second shot. Shoot, dexterity. B. The dive, throw yourself into the mud to the right to evade the blast. Dodge, dexterity. C. The brawl, you are close enough to smack the barrel of his shotgun aside with the stock of your rifle and smash him in the face. Parry/brawl, strength. D. Command, drop it. You bank on the fact that you just blew his friend away and he's terrified. Intimidate, knowledge. Move, kid. Go. Don't let him get deep, you roar over the sound of the rain. Jensen hesitates for a fraction of a second, eyes wide, before the training kicks in. Yes, sir. He scrambles over the wet concrete lip of the tunnel and disappears into the gloom, flashlight beam swinging wildly. You drop to your knees in the mud beside the package. The wounded saboteur nearby is groaning, clutching his shattered leg, but you ignore him. Your world is the box. It's an AHI mining charge, Type 4. Standard issue for blasting open or veins, but modified. The casing has been welded shut, and an external timer is bolted to the front. Rolling for demolitions, 3D+1.
Dice 2, 4, 5.
+1 pip. Total, 12. Difficulty, 15, complex/modified device, result, failure. The complication, you slide your multi-tool blade under the panel to pry it open, looking for the main lead. You find it, but your heart skips a beat. There's a secondary wire, a mercury tilt switch. If you had cut the red wire like a standard disarm, you would have vaporized yourself and the pipeline. The saboteurs rigged this to be anti-tamper. You pull your hand back just in time. The timer doesn't stop. 8 o'clock, 7:59. You need a calm minute to bypass the tilt switch. You take a breath to steady your hands. BLAM. 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 The sound of gunfire echoes violently from the tunnel mouth, magnified by the concrete tube. It's the high-pitched crack of Jensen's light pistol, followed immediately by the heavy thump of a larger caliber slug thrower. Ah! I'm hit! Bishop! I'm hit! Jensen's voice screams over the comms headset, filled with panic and pain. He's coming back to finish me. I can't move my leg. The dilemma, the bomb is unstable. If you move it, the mercury switch triggers. If you leave it to help Jensen, it will detonate in 8 minutes, or sooner if the wounded guy near you decides to kick it. But Jensen is bleeding out in the dark with an executioner walking toward him. What do you do? The mission first, you stay on the bomb. You grit your teeth, mute the comms, and focus on the wire. Jensen knew the risks when he signed the contract. Re-roll demolitions. B. The rescue, screw the pipeline. You leave the bomb where it is and sprint into the tunnel to save your partner. The refinery might take damage, but you don't leave men behind. Combat/movement. C. The Hail Mary, you yell at the wounded saboteur lying next to you. Tell your buddy to stand down or I detonate this thing right now and kill us all. Bluff/intimidation, risky. D. The impossible shot, you draw your sunbeam laser pistol. You can see the tunnel opening. If the enemy steps into view to finish Jensen, you try to snipe him one-handed while keeping your other hand steady on the bomb. High difficulty dexterity. This is a move straight out of an action vid, but you've got the nerves for it. Action, you clamp your left hand onto the bomb casing, locking your elbow to prevent the mercury switch from tilting. With your right hand, you whip the sunbeam laser pistol from its holster, level it at the tunnel darkness, and fire. Rules, you are performing two actions, holding the bomb steady plus shooting. This incurs a -1d penalty to your dice pool. Rolling for dexterity, energy weapons, effective 2d plus 2. Dice, 4, 6, wild die. Exploding wild die, 3. Plus 2 pips. Total, 15. Difficulty, 13, low light plus small target, result, success. ZOT. A beam of ruby red coherent light hisses through the rain. It cuts through the darkness of the tunnel with zero recoil. You hear a wet thwack followed by a scream. The silhouette looming over Jensen convulses as the laser burns a hole through his shoulder armor. He drops his weapon and spins away, falling hard into the slush of the tunnel floor. I got him. Jensen yells, scrambling backward on his elbows, dragging his bloody leg. He's down. He's down. Your left hand hasn't moved a millimeter. The mercury in the switch ripples but doesn't make contact. The timer is now at 4:30. You have neutralized the immediate threats, but the bomb is still live, and you are still kneeling in the mud with a wounded prisoner at your feet and your partner bleeding out 10 meters away. The situation. The bomb, you still need to bypass the tilt switch and cut the power. Jensen, he's safe from the attacker, but he's taken a slug to the leg. He needs a tourniquet. The prisoner, tunnel target 1, the guy you shot first with the rifle, is lying next to you, watching you work on the bomb. He looks terrified. What do you do? Finish the disarm, Jensen, apply pressure. I'm almost done. You focus entirely on the bomb to make the final cut. Demolitions roll, standard difficulty. B, the shortcut, you grab the wounded prisoner by the collar and jam the laser pistol under his chin. What's the disarm code? Tell me or I leave you here to rot. Intimidation, knowledge. C, stabilize Jensen, you can't focus with the kid screaming. You gently set the bomb down, carefully, and run to apply first aid to Jensen before returning to the explosive. First aid, technical. D, call for backup, you use your free hand to toggle the comms. Central, we have shots fired, man down, and a live device. We need EOD and medevac now. You wait for the pros. Risk, timer might run out. Rolling for demolitions, 3D plus 1. Dice, 3, 5, 6, wild die. Exploding wild die, 4. Plus 1 pip. Total, 19. Difficulty, 15, high stress / mercury switch, result, success. You shut out the world. You shut out Jensen's whimpering, the pounding rain, and the throbbing in your own ears. Your universe shrinks down to a single millimeter of blue wire bypass running behind the tilt switch. With the steady hands of a surgeon or a man who has buried enough friends to know that panic kills, you slide the wire cutters in. Snip. The red LED display freezes at 0:42. The humming of the device dies. You exhale, a long plume of steam escaping your lips. You carefully stand up, wiping the mud from your knees. The adrenaline crash hits you, but you push it aside. Clear, you bark. Device is cold. You jog over to the tunnel. Jensen is sitting against the curved wall, clutching his thigh. It's a through-and-through flesh wound, painful, bloody, but he'll keep the leg. The man you lasered is lying further down, unconscious, the smell of ozone and burnt synthetic fabric heavy in the air. You check Jensen's wound and slap a pressure dressing on it. You did good, kid. You held the line. Jensen manages a weak, pale smile. I think I'm gonna throw up, sir. Do it away from the evidence, you say, patting his shoulder. The immediate silence of the aftermath is broken by the crackle of your headset. Central is finally back online. Sector 4 Patrol, this is dispatch. We are reading a seismic anomaly and weapons discharge in your zone. Report status. You look at the scene, 2 incapacitated hostiles, a defused bomb, and a wounded rookie. You have a few minutes before the heavy response team, HRT, and the corporate cleaners arrive. Once they get here, they will take custody of everything: evidence, prisoners, and glory. What do you do in these few minutes of privacy? At the hard interrogation, you walk over to the conscious prisoner, the one with the shattered leg outside, and demand answers. Who sent them? Why this specific pipe? You want the truth before the corpse sweeps it under the rug. Intimidation/interrogation. B. Search the leader. The guy you lasered in the tunnel seemed to be giving orders. You frisk him for a datapad, comms log, or ID. Investigation/search. C. Inspect the device. You take a closer look at the bomb. A Type 4 mining charge is restricted AHI property. You want to check the serial numbers before they get redacted by the cleanup crew. Investigation/tech. D. By the book, you don't touch anything. You radio dispatch with a full sitrep and wait for the extraction team. You're a soldier, not a detective. Bureaucracy. You press the transmit key on your headset. Dispatch, this is Bishop. Sector 4, North Wall. Code 99 Delta. Hostiles neutralized. 1 suspect deceased, 1 wounded in custody. Device secured. Officer Jensen is WIA, category green. Send the meat wagon and the cleanup crew. Over. You stand in the rain, watching the steam rise off the cooling towers, until the rhythmic thrum of rotors cuts through the storm. An AHI security VTOL, searchlights blazing, descends like a bird of prey. Armored troopers rappel down, securing the prisoners and the bomb with practiced, clinical efficiency. They don't talk to you. They don't congratulate you. They just bag the evidence and load Jensen onto a stretcher. The kid gives you a thumbs up as the medic shoots him full of painkillers. Scene 2, the glass tower. Time, 0630 hours. Location, Office of Chief of Security Marcus Thorne. You are sitting in a comfortable chair that feels wrong after 2 hours in the mud. You've had a decontamination shower, but you're still wearing your fatigue pants and a black t-shirt. Across the desk sits Marcus Thorne. He's a pristine man, shaved head, expensive suit, cybernetic left eye that glows a faint, disconcerting blue. He is reviewing your helmet cam footage on a holographic display. He watches the part where you laser the tunnel runner one-handed. He pauses the footage, tapping his desk. Efficient, Thorne says, his voice dry. Minimal collateral damage to the facility. You saved the company approximately 40 million C-bills in repairs and downtime today, Bishop. He leans back. However, the bomb represents a complication. Internal audit tells me that casing is from our own deep crust excavation supplies. It shouldn't exist outside of the high-security storage lockers in Sector 1. He looks at you with his good eye. The official report will say these were free minor extremists who stole the explosives. But you and I know that a bunch of rockhoppers don't have the codes to bypass a Mercury tilt switch or raid Sector 1. Someone inside helped them. Thorne slides a data pad across the desk toward you. I need a man who can shoot straight and keep his mouth shut. I'm promoting you to senior investigator for this case. You have access to the evidence locker and the prisoner once he wakes up from surgery. Find out who gave them that bomb. How do you respond to this promotion? The mercenary, senior investigator comes with a senior pay grade. I want a 15% raise and authorization to requisition better gear for my team. Bargain, knowledge/bureaucracy. B. The skeptic, Sector 1 access is restricted to executives and upper management, sir. If I start digging there, I'm going to make powerful enemies. I need to know you'll have my back. Insight, perception. C. The professional, understood, sir. I'll start with the prisoner. You take the datapad and leave. Accept standard. D. The loyalist, what about Jensen? I want him on my team once his leg heals. I trust him. Loyalty, command. Rolling for bureaucracy, 4D. Dice, 4, 2, 5, 4, wild die. Total, 15. Difficulty, 15, corporate budgeting is harder than combat, result, success, just barely. You lean forward, resting your elbows on the polished obsidian desk. You don't blink. Senior investigator sounds good on a resume, Thorn, but titles don't stop bullets. If I'm hunting internal leaks, I'm going to be walking into crosshairs that are a lot more expensive than what I faced tonight. I want a 15% bump in base pay, hazard pay authorized effective immediately, and a Class B requisition code. I need access to body armor that isn't from the Third Succession War. Thorn stares at you, his cybernetic eye whirring faintly as it likely scans your biometrics for signs of lying. He doesn't smile, but he taps a key on his console. 10%, Thorn counters flatly. And Class B clearance strictly for this investigation. If you abuse the expense account, I'll deduct it from your pension. Deal, you say, nodding. Then you add, keeping your voice even, one more thing. The kid, Jensen. He held the line when things went sideways. I want him on my team. I don't want him reassigned to patrol while I'm doing this. He's green, but he listens. Thorn raises an eyebrow. The rookie? He's currently high on painkillers in the infirmary. But fine. He can be your junior associate. Consider him your responsibility. If he screws up, it's on you. He flicks the datapad again, transferring the authorization codes to your badge. Now, get out of here. You have a mole to hunt. Part 4, the investigation begins. Time, 1,000 hours. Status, tired, but funded. Inventory update, you now have a Class B requisition card. This allows you to check out heavier gear, heavy protective vests, surveillance bugs, or a heavy sidearm from the armory without filling out 3 forms in triplicate. You step out of the office into the sterile hallway of the corporate HQ. Through the reinforced glass windows, you see the rain has stopped, leaving the industrial city of Dunnigan's Rock steaming in the gray daylight. You have 3 leads to follow regarding the Type 4 mining charge. Where do you start? A. The prisoner, Med Bay the surviving saboteur is in the secure ward of the company hospital. He's likely doped up and weak, which might make him easy to crack or incoherent. Intimidation/interrogation. B. The evidence, forensics lab go see the tech boys. You want to look at that bomb casing yourself. If you can trace the serial number or find a manufacturing quirk, you might pinpoint exactly which warehouse it came from. Investigation/search. C. The paper trail, archives you use your new clearance to hack/access the inventory logs for Sector 1. Who authorized the movement of explosives last week? Computer ops/. He disappears into the back and returns with a heavy crate. Acquired items. 2x heavy security flak vests, these are actual combat grade, offering plus 2D physical/plus 1D energy protection. Much better than the light ablative vest you were wearing. 2x stern-snacked Python heavy pistols, brutal .50 caliber revolvers. Damage 5D. They kick like a mule but stop targets cold. You grab 2, 1 for you, 1 for the kid. 4x earwig microtransmitters, adhesive audio bugs. Range, 1 kilometer, battery life, 48 hours. Griggs slides the crate across the counter. Don't lose M. These cost more than your car. Part 4B, the infirmary. Location, Recovery Ward 3. You walk in carrying a gear bag. Jensen is propped up in bed, his leg encased in a regenerative gel cast. He looks woozy but alert enough. You toss one of the new Sternsnack pythons, unloaded, onto his lap, followed by the heavy vest. Souvenirs, you say. You're off patrol duty, Jensen. You've been reassigned to special investigations. we're hunting the people who built that bomb. Once you can walk, you're with me. Jensen stares at the massive hand cannon in his lap, his eyes wide. Special investigations? Sir, thank you. I won't let you down. Rest up. I need you on the monitors in 2 hours. Part 4C, the interrogation. Location, high security ward. Target, the prisoner, name on chart, Doe, John, detainee 419. You walk past 2 armed guards at the door. Senior Investigator Bishop, you flash your badge. Turn off the cameras inside. I don't want the audio recording this. The guards hesitate, then nod and kill the feed. You step inside. The saboteur is handcuffed to the bed frame. He looks like a minor rough skin, chemical burns on his hands. He's awake, staring at the ceiling, painkillers clearly dulling his senses but not his fear. He looks at you, recognizing the face of the man who killed his partner. He flinches. You pull a chair up to the bedside, turn it backward, and sit down. You place your new Sternsnack revolver on the tray table with a heavy clunk. How do you want to play this? Good cop, my bosses want to hang you for terrorism. That's a death sentence. But I know you didn't build that bomb. You're just a delivery boy. Give me the name of the guy who gave you the box, and I can get your charge knocked down to industrial sabotage. Persuasion/bargain. B. Bad cop, your friend in the tunnel died screaming. Did you hear him? I didn't lose a wink of sleep over it. Tell me who built the Type 4, or I tell the guards to take a coffee break and we see how well your other leg holds up. Intimidation/threat. See, the lie, we already caught the guy who ran. He's in the next room, and he's spilling his guts to save his own skin. He says you were the ringleader. You better talk fast if you want to set the record straight. Con/bluff. D. Evidence lead, show him the photo of the bomb casing. This is AHI property. You didn't steal this from a shed. Someone inside gave it to you. Who are you protecting? Because they surely aren't protecting you. Investigation/logic. You deftly palm one of the earwig microtransmitters and stick it to the underside of the metal tray table as you set your revolver down. You tap your own comms unit to local/record. The official feed is dead, but this conversation is going straight to your private encrypted storage. You lean in, your voice low and surprisingly reasonable. Look at me, you say, your tone devoid of the anger he expects. I read the report. You're a rockbreaker from Pit 3, right? Union guy. You've got a wife in the hab blocks. 2 kids. The prisoner blinks, tears of pain and fear welling up. He nods slowly. Here is the reality, you continue, tapping the bed rail. The corp isn't going to charge you with vandalism. They are charging you with domestic terrorism. They will hold a tribunal, it will take 10 minutes, and then they will hang you. Your wife loses her pension. Your kids get evicted. You let that sink in. He starts to shake. But, you offer, leaning back, I write the report. If I say you cooperated, if I say you were coerced, I can drop this down to industrial sabotage. 5 years in the ISO cubes. You live. Your family keeps their housing. But I need the name of the man who gave you the Type 4. Not the cause, just the name. Rolling for knowledge, persuasion/bargain, 3D.
Dice, 5, 4, 2.
Bonus, plus 1D for having all the leverage, 5. Total, 16. Difficulty, 12, scared, drug-addled, but fearing retribution, result, success. The prisoner closes his eyes, exhaling a shuddering breath. He looks broken. It wasn't a suit, he whispers, his voice rasping. It was Kovic. Foreman Kovic from logistics. You keep your face neutral. Kovic. You know him, a loudmouthed shift supervisor in Sector 4. He handles inventory for the deep crust blasting teams. He came to us at the Rusty Cog, the prisoner continues, spilling everything now that the dam has broken. Said he had surplus ordnance that was scheduled for disposal. Said if we wanted to make a statement, he could give us the loud hailer. He rigged the timer. He showed us the tilt switch. He said he's getting paid by someone off-world to disrupt the quotas, but he didn't say who. He looks at you, desperate. That's it. That's all I know. I swear on my mother. You stand up, retrieving your revolver, and subtly peeling the bug back off the table. Foreman Kovic, you repeat. You made the right choice, 419. I'll talk to the prosecutor. You walk out of the room. You have your recording, and you have a target. The lead, Foreman Kovic, is currently on shift at the Sector 4 warehouse. He runs the loading docks. He's a big man, usually surrounded by a crew of loyal dock workers, loaders, mostly ex-convicts working off debts. If Kovic is the supply line, he might have records of who is paying him off-world. What is your next move? A. The direct approach, go to the Sector 4 warehouse right now. March into his office, flash the badge, and arrest him. Risk, he has a crew of heavy lifters, and things might get violent. B. The surveillance, you have 3 bugs left. Sneak into the warehouse and plant them in his office / on his person. Find out who he's talking to before you bag him. Stealth / tech. C. The digital angle, go to your office and hack his financial records first. If he's getting paid by off-worlders, there must be a money trail. Bureaucracy / investigation. D. The trap, use Jensen, or yourself, to pose as a buyer. Contact Kovic claiming you heard he has surplus to sell. Catch him in the act. Con / performance. Part 4D, following the money. Location, your office, Security Sector 4. Time, 1,200 hours. You sit at your terminal, cracking your knuckles. You pull up the AHI payroll and logistics database. You have Class B clearance now, which opens doors that were previously locked, but you still need to know where to look to find dirty money. You cross-reference Foreman Kovic's personal accounts with the Sector 4 logistics waste and disposal logs. Rolling for bureaucracy, 4D. Dice, 3, 5, 4, 6, wild die. Exploding wild die, 2. Total, 20. Difficulty, 15, hidden accounts, result, significant success. It takes you about 40 minutes to find the ghost ledger. Kovic isn't a master criminal, he's just greedy and arrogant. The find. The hustle. For the past 6 months, Kovic has been flagging crates of mining explosives, detonators, and pristine power packs as corroded / unstable or lost in transit. The fence, these items aren't being destroyed. The inventory weight logs show the disposal trucks leaving the warehouse are running light. He's moving the gear out the back door. The payoff, Kovic's official bank account is clean. However, you find a recurring anomaly in his gambling debts. He wins significantly large sums at a local betting parlor called the Hard Six exactly 1 day after every disposal shipment. The source, you trace the payout capability of the Hard Six. They are receiving massive infusions of C-bills from a shell corporation listed as Orion Imports, registered in the Taurian Concordat. The conclusion, Kovic is stealing company property and selling it to Taurian agitators, or their proxies, who are funding the free miners to destabilize AHI's hold on the planet. This is treason. You also spot a schedule entry in the logistics log. Shipment 404 Bravo is marked for emergency disposal tonight at 2000 hours. Kovic is moving another batch of explosives tonight. Part 5, the takedown strategy. You have the motive, the method, and the schedule. You have a few hours before the shipment moves. You have 2 heavy pistols, 1 for you, 1 for Jensen. 2 heavy vests, 1 for you, 1 for Jensen. 3 bugs, you used 1 on the prisoner, retrieved it. Jensen, he's injured, mobility heavily reduced, but he can shoot and he can operate a computer / comms. How do you want to handle the 2,000 hours shipment? The warehouse raid, you and a squad of standard security grunts, NPCs, kick down the doors right as they are loading the truck. Combat heavy, high chaos. B. The stealth insertion, you go in alone, or with Jensen hobbling, before the deal starts. You plant the bugs, take photos of the buyers, and then ambush them when the evidence is irrefutable. Stealth-combat. C. The ambush on the road, let the truck leave the warehouse. You ambush the convoy on the highway where Kovic has less backup/cover. Vehicle combat/tactics. D. The sniper/overwatch, you set up a position overlooking the loading dock. You use your rifle to take out the buyers from a distance, then move in to arrest Kovic. Dexterity/sniper. Part 5A, the setup. Time, 1,730 hours. Location, Sector 4 Security HQ. You set Jensen up at the main console in your office. He's propped his cast up on a chair, surrounded by screens and a headset. Okay, kid, you say, checking the frequency on your own comms. You are Overwatch. Monitor the audio feeds from the Bugseye plant. Once that truck moves, track its transponder. If Kovic sneezes, I want to know about it. Jensen adjusts his headset, looking serious. Loud and clear, Bishop. I've got the traffic grid overrides ready to divert civilian traffic away from the ambush zone. Part 5B, the infiltration. Location, Sector 4 warehouse, loading dock C emission, plant 3 earwig bugs. You approach the warehouse from the storm drain side, ironic. The rain has stopped, but the fog is rolling in thick off the cooling ponds. You need to get close enough to Kovic's office, overlooking the floor, and the loading bay itself without alerting the workers. Rolling for SALTH, 3D plus 2.
Dice 3, 5, 4.
Plus 2 pips. Total, 14. Difficulty, 12, busy warehouse, lots of noise to cover you, result, success. You slip through a side maintenance door. The warehouse is a cavernous space filled with towering shelves of crates. Loaders, massive, yellow industrial exoskeletons, stomp back and forth, carrying pallets. The noise of hydraulics and shouting is deafening, which works in your favor. You move through the shadows of the racks. Bug 1, planted on the underside of the forklift usually parked right next to the disposal bay. Bug 2, you climb the gantry stairs. You stick one on the outside of Kovic's glass-walled office, right near the ventilation grate where sound leaks out. Bug 3, you stick the last one on a support pillar near the main bay door where the truck is idling. You slip back out the way you came, undetected. Part 5C, the squad. Time, 1900 hours. Location, motor pool. Now you need muscle. You walk into the patrol briefing room. You need a squad that can keep its mouth shut and shoot straight. Rolling for command/bureaucracy, 4D. Dice, 2, 5, 1, 6, wild die. Exploding wild die, 3. Total, 17. Result, success. You leverage your new senior investigator title. You manage to requisition Echo Squad, a 4-man team of seasoned patrolmen equipped with light riot gear and shotguns. They aren't mech warriors, but they are loyal to the badge and they know how to follow orders. Load up, you tell them. We're going hunting. Part 5D, the Sting. Time, 2015 hours. Location, ambush point, Highway 9, passing through the Rust Belt, an abandoned industrial zone. You are parked in your Jeep, lights off, hidden in an alleyway perpendicular to the main road. Echo Squad is in an armored van across the street. Jensen's voice crackles in your ear. Bishop, I have audio from the office. Kovic is talking to someone. Voice print doesn't match any employee. Deep voice, accent sounds. Torian. Audio feed, load is heavy, Kovic. These detonators better be stable. My client is tired of duds. Top shelf, my friend. AHI doesn't make junk. You get the cash transfer confirmed, and the truck rolls. Transfer sent. You're a rich man, foreman. Jensen cuts in, transfer detected. Large sum moving to the Shell account. The truck is moving. One heavy hauler, escorted by 2 fast attack buggies. They are heading your way. ETA 2 minutes. The trap is set. The convoy is approaching. Lead vehicle, a customized dune buggy with a mounted machine gun, light. Target, the heavy hauler truck, armored cab, carrying the explosives. Rear guard, another buggy. You and Echo Squad are waiting. How do you trigger the ambush? The EMP, you have a vehicle stopper Magpulse mine, standard police issue, in the Jeep. Throw it on the road to stall the lead buggy and block the truck. Then open fire. B. The decoy, pull your Jeep out into the road with lights flashing, blocking the lane. Security checkpoint. When they slow down or stop, Echo Squad flanks them. Risky, they might just ram you. C. The Alpha Strike, you take the first shot with your M42B rifle. You aim for the driver of the lead buggy to crash it, creating a pileup. D. Explosive entry, you shoot the tires of the heavy hauler as it passes, forcing it to crash. Risk, it's carrying explosives, might go boom. Part 5E, the trap springs. Time, 2018 hours. Conditions, dark, wet pavement, fog. You slide the Magpulse mine onto the center line of the road, concealed by a discarded piece of cardboard. Then, you reverse your Jeep perpendicular to the lanes, blocking the path. You leave the engine running and the high beams blindingly bright facing the oncoming traffic. Echo Squad is hidden in the ditch line, shotguns racked. The approach, you see the headlights' first halogen beams cutting through the fog. The roar of engines grows louder. As they round the bend and see your blockade, the convoy screeches to a halt about 30 meters away. The lead buggy idles aggressively. You can see the silhouette of the gunner in the pintle mount racking the slide of a heavy machine gun. You grab your loudspeaker mic AHI security. Kill your engines and step out of the vehicles. This is a checkpoint. Rolling for intimidation, 4D. Dice, 3, 4, 1, 6, wild die. Exploding wild die, 2. Total, 16. Result, success, hesitation. The lead driver hesitates. For a moment, the authority in your voice works. You see heads turning in the buggy, arguing. Then, Jensen's voice screams in your ear, Bishop. They aren't stopping. I'm reading a power spike in their engine, they're gonna ram. The lead buggy engine roars. The gunner swings the machine gun toward your Jeep. Now, you yell. You trigger the Magpulse mine. Through. A sphere of blue distortion ripples out from the cardboard box on the road. The lead buggy hits the wave first. Its engine dies instantly, electronics fried. It skids sideways, momentum carrying it into the guardrail with a screech of tearing metal. The heavy hauler, truck, behind it slams on the brakes to avoid a collision. The Magpulse wave catches the front of the cab. The truck lurches and stalls, dead in the water, blocking the road completely. The rear buggy, however, was just outside the blast radius. It swerves wildly around the stalled truck, hopping the curb and accelerating toward you and Echo Squad, its passenger leaning out with an assault rifle. The situation. Lead buggy, crashed against the rail. Gunner is dazed but recovering fast. The truck, stalled. Driver and passenger are trapped inside. Rear buggy, active and charging your position. It will be on top of you in seconds. Echo Squad, engaging the lead buggy with shotguns. You are standing behind the door of your Jeep. What is your priority? Stop the charger. Use your M42B rifle to light up the incoming rear buggy before it runs you down. Dexterity, combat. B. Suppress the gunner. The heavy MG on the crashed lead buggy is the biggest threat. If that gunner wakes up, he shreds Echo Squad. You focus fire on him. Dexterity, precision. C. Secure the cargo. You sprint for the stalled truck, hoping to use it as cover and secure the explosives before a stray bullet sets them off. Movement/tactics. D. Echo, shift fire. Order Echo Squad to focus on the charging buggy while you handle the heavy MG yourself with your heavy pistol. Command plus combat. Rolling for SLUGTHROWERS, M42B rifle, 5D+2. Dice, 4, 2, 5, 6, wild die. Exploding wild die, 4. Plus 2 pips. Total, 23. Difficulty, 15, fast-moving vehicle, head-on, result, critical success. You don't flinch as the buggy roars toward you, tires screaming on the wet asphalt. You plant your feet, exhale, and track the driver through your scope. Crack, crack, crack. The Federated Barrett kicks against your shoulder. The rounds punch through the reinforced windshield of the buggy like it's paper. The driver jerks violently, and the vehicle swerves hard to the left. At 60 kilometers an hour, the turn is fatal. The buggy clips the concrete meridian, flips into the air, and tumbles roof over wheels down the highway, sparking violently before coming to a rest upside down about 20 meters behind you. The wheels spin lazily in the air. Silence from the cab. Target down, you shout. Your headset crackles. Echo leader, boss. The lead buggy, he's traversing. You snap your attention back to the front. The lead buggy, the one you EMP'd, is dead in the water, but the pintle mount is manual. The gunner has shaken off the daze and is swinging the heavy .50 caliber machine gun directly toward Echo Squad's van. If he pulls that trigger, your backup gets turned into red mist. The truck is still stalled in the middle, but the passenger door flies open. A man in heavy combat armor, Taurian colors, jumps out, using the truck wheel for cover. He raises a submachine gun. The situation. Lead buggy gunner, about to open fire on Echo Squad, critical threat. Truck guard, on foot, taking cover, armed with SMG, moderate threat. Kovic, remote Jensen yells in your ear, Bishop. Kovic just realized the transfer halted. He's trying to wipe the servers remotely. I'm fighting him, but I need you to secure the physical drive on that truck. You have a split second. Save the squad, the HMG is the deadliest thing on the field. You shift fire and put a burst into the lead buggy gunner before he shreds your team. Ranged combat. B. Rush the truck, you charge the man on foot near the truck. You need to secure the cargo and the onboard computer before they can destroy evidence. You trust Echo Squad to handle the gunner. Movement/combat. C. Echo. Suppression. You shout for Echo Squad to keep their heads down while you flank the truck to get a better angle on both targets. Tactics/command. D. The grenade, you have a frag grenade on your belt. You lob it at the lead buggy. It might damage the truck, explosives risk, but it will definitely clear the gunner. Throwing. Rolling for grenades, 4D+2. Dice, 5, 1, 3, 6, wild die. Exploding wild die, 5. Plus 2 pips. Total, 22. Difficulty, 15, precision throw required to avoid the truck payload, result, significant success. Echo. Watch the dismount right side, you scream into the combs. You rip the pin from the fragmentation grenade, judge the distance, and hurl it overhand. It's a perfect arc. The grenade sails through the fog and lands with a metallic clank right inside the open roll cage of the lead buggy, directly between the driver's seat and the gunner's platform. Frag out. The gunner sees it land. His eyes go wide. He tries to dive. Boom. The explosion shreds the buggy's interior. Shrapnel tears through the seats and the ammo cans. The heavy machine gun is blown off its mount, clattering uselessly onto the asphalt. The threat of heavy weapons fire is gone. Because of your precision, the blast force is contained by the buggy's chassis. The truck, sitting just 10 meters away with its volatile cargo, is rocked by the shockwave but remains intact. The rush, you don't wait for the smoke to clear. You drop the rifle to a tactical sling position and sprint forward, drawing your stern-snacked Python heavy revolver with your right hand. Echo Squad opens up with shotguns on your command. Boom chuck. Boom chuck. Their suppression fire forces the armored guard near the truck to duck behind the heavy tires, keeping his head down. You slide across the wet pavement, slamming your back against the front grille of the truck. You are now on the same side as the guard, separated only by the length of the vehicle cab. Jensen yells in your ear, "Bishop. Kovac is bypassing the firewalls. I can't hold him off much longer. Get the drive." The drive is in the cab. The guard is between you and the cab door. The showdown, you hear the guard breathing hard. He snaps a fresh magazine into his SMG. He knows you're there. What is your move? At the blind fire, reach around the corner of the truck with your heavy revolver and fire blindly to force him back, then charge. Suppressive fire, low accuracy. B. The ricochet, you drop to the ground and shoot under the truck, aiming for his ankles. Precision shot, dexterity. C. The brawl, you charge around the corner and tackle him before he can bring the SMG to bear. You have a heavy vest, you can take a hit. Strength/brawling. D. The bluff, you're surrounded. Throw the gun or Echo Squad turns you into Swiss cheese. Intimidation, leverage is high. Rolling for dexterity, slug throwers, blind fire penalty, -1D. Dice, 5, 4. Plus 2 pips. Total, 11. Difficulty, 10, suppression/intimidation, result, success. BLAM. BLAM. You thrust the massive barrel of the stern-snacked Python around the edge of the truck cab and pull the trigger twice. The heavy .50 caliber rounds strike the asphalt inches from the guard's boots, sending up a spray of concrete shrapnel and sparks. The guard flinches, instinctively curling into a ball to protect his legs. That momentary hesitation is all you need. You roar around the corner, leading with your shoulder. The guard looks up, eyes wide behind his visor, raising his SMG, but he's too slow. You are already inside his guard. You don't even bother firing again, you piston kick him in the chest, strength check, success. He slams backward against the truck tire, wheezing, the wind knocked out of him. Before he can recover, you smash the grip of your heavy revolver into his helmet. He slumps over, out cold. The data drive, you wrench the driver's side door open. The truck driver is cowering with his hands up. "I'm just a contractor. I didn't know." "Get out," you bark, dragging him out and throwing him to the pavement for Echo Squad to zip tie. You dive into the cab. The dashboard console is flashing red, remote wipe in progress 88%. You spot the physical data stack, a ruggedized hard drive slotted into the NAV computer. You jam the release button. Nothing. Kovac has engaged the magnetic locks remotely. "Bishop. He's purging the cache." Jensen screams. "Pull it. Break it if you have to." You holster your pistol, grab the drive with both hands, and brace your boot against the dashboard. Rolling for strength, 3D plus 2.
Dice, 6, 5, 3.
Exploding wild die, 4. Plus 2 pips. Total, 20. Result, critical success. With a groan of tearing metal, you rip the entire drive housing out of the dashboard, sparks showering your lap. The screen goes black. "Got it," you pant, holding up the smoking unit. Jensen exhales in your ear. Confirmed. The remote link is severed. The data is safe. We have Kovac's ledger, the buyer's identity, and the transaction logs. We have him, Bishop. We have him cold. The aftermath, the highway is a scene of carnage. One buggy wrecked, one burning, a truck full of explosives secured, and Echo Squad rounding up the survivors. You stand in the rain, the adrenaline fading, holding the evidence that will bury Foreman Kovic. The endgame, you have a choice on how to finish this night. Kovic is still at the warehouse, likely panicking because his screen just went dead. The personal touch, Jensen, tell Echo Squad to secure the prisoners. I'm going to the warehouse. I want to put the cuffs on Kovic myself. Drive there solo / with partner. B. The raid, dispatch, this is Bishop. I have evidence of treason by Foreman Kovic. Send a heavy response team to Sector 4 warehouse immediately. Seal the building. Official / bureaucratic. C. The confrontation, you patch your comms directly into Kovic's office speakers, via the bug you planted. You tell him it's over and give him a chance to surrender before the wolves arrive. Social / intimidation. D. The buyer, you check the drive right now. You want to know who the Torian contact is before you deal with Kovic. If the buyer is someone high up, Kovic might just be a pawn you can use. Investigation. Part 6, The Cleanup. Time, 2,100 hours. Location, outside Sector 4 warehouse. You lean against the hood of your Jeep, the rain beginning to fall again, a soft drizzle this time, washing the mud and grease from your armor. You watch the flashing lights of the Heavy Response Team, HRT, illuminate the warehouse facade. You made the call, and the corporation answered. 3 Manticore APCs block the loading docks. A flight of tolls hovers overhead, searchlights pinning the building to the ground. There was no firefight. Kovic's loaders took one look at the heavy armor and dropped to their knees. 2 HRT troopers drag Foreman Kovic out the side door. He's not the confident kingpin anymore. He's sweating, his expensive jacket torn, zip ties digging into his wrists. He sees you standing by the Jeep, the smoking data drive resting on the hood next to you. He stops struggling. You think you won a medal, Bishop? Kovic spits, his voice shaking with a mix of rage and terror. You think AHI cares about you? You just kicked a hornet's nest. The people I was selling to, they aren't just miners with grudges. They're professionals. You step forward, towering over him. You pick up the data drive and tap it against his chest. Maybe, you say calmly. But tonight, they're short a shipment. And you're out of a job. Get him out of here, you signal the troopers. They shove Kovic into the back of an APC. Part 7, The Debrief. Time, 0900 hours, the next day. Location, Chief Thorne's office. You are exhausted. You haven't slept in 24 hours. But you are clean, your report is filed, and the internal threats have been neutralized. Thorne is reviewing the data from the drive you salvaged. A holographic display casts a blue glow over his cybernetic eye. Excellent work, senior investigator, Thorne says, rarely offering praise. Kovic has already confessed. He was siphoning explosives to a mercenary outfit known as the Copperheads. They are acting as proxies for Torian interests, trying to sabotage our geothermal output so they can muscle in on the energy contracts in this sector. Thorne slides a digital credit chit across the desk. Your bonus. And the hazard pay for Officer Jensen. Speaking of which, the kid is out of surgery. He'll walk with a limp for a few weeks, but he's cleared for desk duty. Rewards. Character points, XP plus 15 CP, for stopping the bomb, saving Jensen, and capturing Kovic. Credits, plus 2,000 C-bills, bonus plus hazard pay. Reputation, plus 1 with AHI Corporation. Thorne leans forward. The investigation is technically closed, but the Copperheads are still out there. The data drive gave us a name, Captain Silas Vane. He's the one who bought the explosives. We believe he's operating out of a safe zone in the refugee sector on the edge of town, neutral ground where AHI security has no jurisdiction. I can't order you to go into the refugee sector, Thorne says carefully. It would be a diplomatic incident if uniformed security was caught there. But, if a private citizen were to go down there and locate Vane. The campaign continues, you have 15 character points to spend, you can upgrade skills or attributes. You also have a fresh lead on the main villain, Silas Vane. What do you want to do with your downtime? A. Upgrade skills. Spend your CP to improve your combat or investigation skills before going after Vane. Please specify what you want to improve. B. Visit Jensen, go see the kid, give him his share of the bonus, and see if he can help you with off-the-books research on the refugee sector. C. Hit the rusty cog, you need to unwind. Go to the bar, spend some credits, and listen to rumors about the copperheads in the refugee sector. Streetwise. D. The black market, you have 2,000 C-bills. You can try to buy illegal gear, better armor, grenades, or cybernetics that the Corp won't issue you. Character update, Charles Bishop. You spend your downtime drilling at the range and filing detailed reports, sharpening both your aim and your detective's eye. Expenditure log. Slug throwers, 5D plus $2 right arrow $6D cost 5 CP. Investigation, 4D plus $1 right arrow $4D plus 2 cost 4 CP. Search, 4D plus $1 right arrow $4D plus 2 cost 4 CP. Total spent, 13 CP. Remaining CP, 2. Updated combat stats. Federated Barrett M42B, 6D attack /5D damage. Sternsnacked Python, 6D attack /5D damage. Scene, the junior partner. Location, AHI Recovery Ward. Time, 1,100 hours. You walk into Jensen's room. He's out of bed, sitting in a wheelchair by the window, looking out at the dreary skyline of Dunnigan's Rock. The cast on his leg is covered in signatures from the other rookies in Echo Squad. When you walk in, he tries to stand up, wincing. Sit down, kid, you wave him off. You earned the chair. You pull up a stool and toss a cred stick onto his lap. That's your cut of the hazard pay. Don't spend it all on painkillers. Jensen picks up the stick, checking the balance. His eyes widen. Sir, this is 3 months' salary. You took a bullet, you shrug. Price of doing business. You lean against the windowsill, lowering your voice. Thorne is happy. Kovac is in a hole. But the job isn't done. The explosives were bought by a merc captain named Silas Vane. He's running a crew called the Copperheads out of the refugee sector. Jensen frowns, tapping his fingers on the armrest. The refugee sector? That's the zone of alienation. AHI pulled out of there 5 years ago after the riots. It's basically a shanty town run by gangs and warlords. Corporate badges are target practice down there. He looks at you, realizing what you're thinking. Thorne can't send a squad, Jensen deduces. So you're going in alone? Off the books? Someone has to, you reply. Jensen wheels himself over to his personal data pad on the bedside table. If you're going into the zone, you can't go in looking like a cop. They'll spot the armor and the haircut a mile away. You need a cover. He starts typing rapidly. I can fabricate a fake ID for you. I can backdate some employment records, make you look like a freelance bounty hunter or a gun for hire looking for work. If Vane is a merc, maybe he's hiring? Jensen presents you with 3 cover identity options he can whip up. A. Jackknife, the enforcer, a disgraced ex-security guard looking for dirty work. Pros, explains your military skills and heavy weapons. Intimidating. Cons, mercs might test you to see if you're tough enough. B. Doc, the tech specialist, a freelance munitions expert looking to sell services. Pros, gets you close to their explosives/supply cache. Cons, requires you to fake technical knowledge, demolitions/tech roles. C. The courier, underworld transport, you claim to be the new contact for the Torian supply line, here to fix the mess Kovac made. Pros, high-level access to leadership immediately. Cons, extremely high risk. If they check with their real bosses, you're dead. Which cover do you choose? Jackknife it is. A brute with a badge that got taken away because he liked hurting people too much. It's a cover story that's uncomfortably close to the truth of what you did to that guard in the tunnel, which makes it perfect. It's believable. Jensen types furiously. Done. I've planted a flagged file in the public AHI disciplinary records. Name, Jackknife Bishop. Dishonorable discharge effective yesterday. Cause, excessive force resulting in suspect fatality. If Vane runs your background, he'll see a man who is violent, desperate, and hates the corp. You nod. Good work. Keep the comms line open, but passive only. Don't transmit unless I trigger the emergency beacon. I'm going dark. Part 8, The Zone of Alienation. Time, 2000 hours. Location, the border of the refugee sector. You leave the Jeep behind. You stripped off your rank insignia and the AHI patches. You took some sandpaper to your pristine heavy flak vest, scuffing the shine off the polymers until it looks lived in. You wrapped the grip of your stern-snacked python in friction tape. You look like a man who has been sleeping in his armor. You walk past the warning signs, AHI jurisdiction ends here. Enter at own risk. The refugee sector is a different world. The clean concrete of the corporate town gives way to mud, corrugated steel shacks, and repurposed shipping containers stacked 3 high. It smells of unrefined sulfur, cooking oil, and desperation. It doesn't take you long to find where the muscle hangs out. In a place like this, power concentrates around the booze. Location, the drop. A massive, converted hangar used as a bar and marketplace. You push through the heavy plastic slat curtains. The noise hits you, throbbing bass music, the clink of glass, and the roar of a crowd. Inside, it's a sea of refugees, smugglers, and gangers. But you spot them instantly. In the back, raised on a steel platform that used to be a loading bay, is a VIP section roped off with razor wire. Sitting at the tables are men and women in mismatched but high-quality combat armor. They have a snake emblem painted on their shoulder plates. The Copperheads. They are drinking, playing cards, and watching the crowd with the arrogance of wolves in a sheep pen. You spot a man who looks like a recruiter, a scarred heavy worlder with a cybernetic arm, wearing a Copperhead lieutenant's beret. He's currently counting a stack of C-bills while 2 younger mercs stand guard at the stairs leading up to the platform. You have the M42B rifle slung over your shoulder, barrel down, non-threatening but visible, and the python on your hip. You need to get up those stairs and talk to the lieutenant without getting shot. How do you make your entrance? The challenge, you walk straight to the guards at the stairs. When they move to stop you, you don't slow down. You shove the biggest one aside to prove you aren't intimidated. Strength/intimidation. B, the professional, you walk up, keep your hands visible but away from your guns, and shout over the music, I heard the Copperheads are looking for professionals. I'm tired of working with amateurs. Persuasion/style. C, the buy-in, you walk to the bar, buy a bottle of the most expensive rotgut they have, and walk it over to the guards. For the lieutenant. Compliments of a man looking for work. Streetwise/bribe. D, the display, you wait for trouble. In a place like this, a fight will break out in the crowd any minute. When it does, you step in and end it brutally, catching the lieutenant's eye. Combat/brawling. Rolling for command/persuasion, 4D+1.
Dice 3, 6, 2, 5.
+1 pip. Total, 17. Difficulty, 15. Mercs are suspicious of strangers, especially well-armed ones. Result, success. You walk straight toward the razor wire cordon, your boots heavy on the metal grating. You don't posture, and you don't flinch. You just walk like a man who owns the space around him. 2 mercs at the bottom of the stairs step forward, crossing their assault rifles to block your path. One of them, a kid with a mohawk and bad teeth, sneers. Private party, Grandpa. Go buy a drink at the bar. You stop inches from his face. You don't look at him, You look past him, locking eyes with the scarred lieutenant on the platform above. I heard the copperheads are looking for professionals, you say, your voice cutting through the bass of the music like a razor. You thumb the sling of your M42B rifle. And I'm tired of working with amateurs who can't hold a perimeter. The kid with the mohawk bristles and starts to raise his rifle but to shove you back. I said beat it. Hold it, Rook, a gravelly voice calls out from above. The lieutenant stands up. The hydraulics in his cybernetic arm hiss as he rests it on the railing. He looks you up and down, noting the high-quality flak vest and the stern-snack python on your hip. He recognizes the stance. Let him up, the lieutenant orders. The guards reluctantly step aside. You walk up the stairs, ignoring them. You reach the VIP platform. The lieutenant, his name tag reads Grinder, pours a shot of amber liquid into a dirty glass and slides it across the table to you. AHI gear, Grinder notes, pointing at your rifle. But you filed the serial numbers off. And you walk like a cop. Ex-cop, you correct him, picking up the glass but not drinking. The corp and I had a disagreement about acceptable casualties. They fired me. I kept the severance package. You pat the heavy revolver. Now I need a paycheck, and I hear Captain Vane pays on time. Grinder grins, revealing a gold tooth. He does. But he doesn't hire strays. You want to wear the snake, you got to prove you have fangs. He leans in. We have a little issue with a local, freelancer. Guy runs a chop shop down in Sector 9. He was supposed to fix up 2 of our buggies, but he's holding them hostage, demanding more money. Says he found extra damage. Grinder pulls a jagged combat knife from his belt and stabs it into the table. I want you to go down there. I want you to get our buggies back. And I want you to bring me his hand. The left one. He uses the right to weld. The dilemma, you are an undercover corporate officer. Your job is to enforce order, not mutilate mechanics. But if you refuse, your cover is blown, and the copperheads will likely try to kill you right here. How do you handle the initiation? The brutal yes, consider it done. You take the knife. You go to the shop and you do exactly what he asked. It's a gritty universe, sometimes you have to get your hands dirty to catch the big fish. Dark side / ruthless. Total, 20. Difficulty, 18. Mercenary lieutenants don't like being told no. Result, critical success. The music seems to stop, or maybe your adrenaline just drowns it out. You look at the knife quivering in the table, then look Grinder dead in the eye. You don't reach for the weapon. You don't even blink. I didn't leave the corp to become a loan shark, Grinder, you say, your voice low, steady, and dripping with disdain. I'm a mechanized infantry veteran. I clear bunkers. I break lines. I don't shake down mechanics for spare parts. You lean in, invading his personal space. You want someone to cut off a hand? Send the kid with the mohawk. You want a sector secured? You hire me. The 2 guards at the stairs rack the slides on their rifles. The air is electric. One wrong move and this turns into a bloodbath. Grinder stares at you, his organic eye narrowing while the cybernetic one whirs softly. His hand hovers over his sidearm. Then, unexpectedly, he throws his head back and laughs. A harsh, barking sound. Balls, Grinder says, waving his guards down. I like that. You're right. Sending a heavy hitter to a chop shop is a waste of ammo. He yanks the knife out of the table and sheathes it. Alright, jackknife. You want a soldier's job? I've got one. A job that my last 2 debt collectors didn't come back from. He taps a greasy map displayed on a datapad. 3 blocks east, there's a collapsed high-rise we call the Spire. A rival gang, the Rust Devils, has set up a heavy sniper nest on the 10th floor. They've been taking potshots at our supply convoys. They have thermal optics and a high-caliber railgun. Grinder looks at you. I don't need their hands. I need that railgun silenced. Permanently. You do that, and I'll take you to see Captain Vane myself. The mission. Target, Rust Devil Sniper Nest, approximate 3 to 4 hostiles. Location, the Spire, 10th floor. Unstable terrain. Hazard, they have high ground and thermal optics. You nod. Consider it cleared. You turn and walk away before he can change his mind. Part 9, The Spire. Time, 2,130 hours. Location, the approach to the collapsed high-rise. The rain has started again, which is good. It cools the thermal signature of your armor, making you slightly harder to spot. You are crouched behind a pile of rubble about 400 meters from the building. The spire is a skeletal ruin, the top half is sheared off, leaving jagged rebar pointing at the sky. Jensen's voice crackles in your earpiece, passive reception only, unless you transmit. Bishop, I'm scanning the thermal output of that building. I'm picking up a massive heat signature on the 10th floor balcony. That's the railgun generator. But there are also trip lasers rigged in the stairwell. If you go up the front way, they'll see you coming. You scan the building. You see 3 potential approaches. How do you want to assault the nest? The counter sniper, you find a position in the building opposite the spire, about 300 MOA. You use your M42B rifle, range, long, to engage them in a duel. You have to be a better shot than they are. Dexterity/rifle. B. The vertical flank, the elevator shaft is destroyed, but the cables are still hanging. You can climb up the shaft from the inside, bypassing the stairwell traps. It's a hard climb in heavy armor, but you'll pop up right behind them. Climbing/strength. C. The demolitionist, you still have a few charges of C12 explosive, standard security issue. You sneak into the lobby and plant charges on the structural pillars. You don't need to kill the snipers if you bring the whole floor down. Demolitions/engineering. D. The Trojan horse, you walk out into the open waving a white flag or a bottle of booze. You claim you're a defector from the copperheads looking to trade intel. When they let you up close, you draw the python and start blasting. Con/bluff, very risky. Part 9A, The Nest. Location, the Old Cannery 4th floor, opposite the spire. Range, 350 meters. Conditions, heavy rain, low visibility. You move like a ghost through the skeletal remains of the cannery across the street. You find a perfect firing position, a hole in the brickwork shielded by a rusted ventilation fan. It gives you a narrow but clear line of sight to the 10th floor of the spire, while the fan blades break up your silhouette. You settle in. You prop the heavy federated Barrett M42B on the window ledge, wrapping your jacket around the barrel to dampen the vibrations. You wipe the rain from your scope and dial in the magnification. Rolling for search, 4D+2.
Dice 3, 6, 4, 2.
Plus 2 pips. Total, 17. Result, success. Through the green phosphor of your scope, you sweep the 10th floor balcony. Jensen was right. You spot the faint heat shimmer of a generator running hot. Then you see them. Target 1, the gunner sitting behind a bulky, tripod-mounted weapon. It's a Grizzly 3 portable railgun. Devastating power, but slow to traverse. Target 2, the spotter standing to the left, scanning the street with handheld thermal binoculars. If the spotter sees you, the gunner turns you into pink mist. You have to take them out in the right order. Initiative, you have the element of surprise. Action, you take a breath, letting it out slowly to steady your heart rate. You aim for the gunner first. If the railgun is unmanned, the spotter is just a guy with binoculars. Rolling for SLUGTHROWERS 6D, called Shot-1D difficulty. Dice, 5, 2, 6, wild die. Exploding wild die, 4. Total, 27. Difficulty, 20, long range plus rain plus partial cover, result, critical hit. Crack. The recoil of the M42B punches your shoulder, but the bipod holds true. The round crosses the 350-meter gap in an instant. It's a perfect kill. The round catches the gunner in the neck, just above his body armor. He is thrown backward out of his chair, the railgun slewing wildly to the side. The reaction, the spotter panics. He drops his binoculars and dives for the railgun controls, trying to swing the massive weapon toward the muzzle flash he just saw. You have one round to stop him before he fires. Rolling for SLUGTHROWERS 6D.
Dice 1, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2.
Total, 20. Result, success. You work the bolt of your rifle, clack clack, and fire again. The second round punches through the thin concrete barrier of the balcony and slams into the spotter's chest. He collapses over the barrel of the railgun. Silence returns to the rainy street. Target neutralized, you whisper to yourself. Part 9b, the proof. You make your way across the street and climb the precarious stairs of the spire to confirm the kill. The nest is a mess. You don't carry the heavy railgun back, it's bolted to the floor and weighs 200 kilograms. Instead, you use your combat knife to pry the thermal control unit off the side of the gun. It's expensive tech, and it proves you took the position. Loot acquired. Railgun thermal sight, can be jury-rigged to your rifle later, requires tech roll. 3x high-X grenades, found in a crate near the spotter. You head back to the drop. Part 10, the captain. Location, the drop, VIP platform. Time, 2,300 hours. The music is still pounding. Grinder is still drinking. You walk up the stairs and toss the thermal control unit onto the table. It lands with a heavy, expensive thud, cracking the glass surface. Grinder looks at the tech, then at you. He whistles. Clean work, jackknife, Grinder grunts. Didn't even hear a boom. You're a scary son of a bitch. He stands up and keys his headset. Captain? The new guy is legit. Rust devils are gone. Sending him back to you. He signals for the guards to open the heavy blast door behind the VIP section. Captain Vane is in the back office. Don't make any sudden moves. He's augmented. The inner sanctum, you walk into a soundproofed office. It's surprisingly austere, military maps on the wall, a cot in the corner, and a desk piled with data pads. Captain Silas Vane stands by a window looking out at the refugee camp. He turns to face you. He is a striking figure. Tall, gaunt, with pale skin that suggests he spent years in deep space. He wears a pristine copperhead uniform. But the most disturbing thing is his neck, visible cybernetic cabling runs from his jawline down into his collar. He's a cyber soldier, possibly an illegal prototype from the Dominion Wars. Grinder tells me you handled our sniper problem, Vane says. His voice is synthetic, metallic, and smooth. And my sources tell me you used to be AHI security. A Jack Bishop with a violent streak. He walks closer. I need men who know AHI protocols. I am planning an operation that requires precision, not just brute force. But I need to know where your loyalties lie. You hate the corporation? How do you answer? The mercenary, I don't hate them. I just realized they don't pay enough for what they ask. I'm loyal to the highest bidder, Captain. Right now, that's you. Professional/neutral. B. The vengeful, they threw me to the wolves after 10 years of service. I want to see that company burn. You point me at them, and I'll pull the trigger. Passion/aggressive. C. The pragmatist, I'm a survivor, vain. The corp is weak. You're strong. I stick with the winning side. Flattery/logic. D. The truth, twisted, I know how they think. I know their shift changes. I know their blind spots. You don't pay me to hate them, you pay me to dismantle them. Competence. Rolling for persuasion/knowledge, 4D+1.
Dice, 5, 3, 6, 2.
+1 pip. Total, 17. Result, success. Captain Vane stares at you, his unblinking eyes tracking your micro-expressions. The hum of his cybernetics is the only sound in the room for a long, tense moment. He seems to be processing your statement like a computer running a probability algorithm. Competence, Vane says finally, the synthetic edge in his voice dropping slightly. A rare commodity in the periphery. I don't need zealots, Bishop. Zealots make mistakes. I need mechanics. He walks over to the large digital map on the wall. He keys a command, and the map shifts from the refugee sector to a detailed schematic of Sector 4, your sector. You say you know their blind spots, Vane says, pointing a pale finger at the geothermal power plant. We have the explosives. We have the manpower. But AHI upgraded their perimeter sensors last week after the incident at the storm drain. The thermal grid is overlapping. He turns to you. If you were me, and you wanted to insert a 4-man team into the turbine hall without tripping the seismic alarms, how would you do it? The test, he is asking for real intel. If you lie, he might know, he likely has other sources. If you tell the truth, you are giving him the keys to the castle you are sworn to protect. You recall the shift schedules and the maintenance logs you reviewed yesterday. You know there is a maintenance blackout scheduled for the coolant flush at 0300 hours. During that window, the seismic sensors are dialed down to avoid false positives from the rushing water. What do you tell him? A. The truth, the coolant flush, wait for the 0300 coolant flush. The vibration from the water masks movement. It's a 10-minute window. That's your way in. Gives him a real entry, but establishes your value. B. The trap, the old tunnel, there's a decommissioned ventilation shaft in the north quadrant. Sensors, there are dummy units. It's a lie. The sensors are live. You are setting him up to walk into an ambush. C. The social engineer, don't sneak in. Walk in. I still have the master codes for the delivery gate. We hijack a supply truck and drive right to the loading dock. High risk, but puts you in the driver's seat. D. The technical bluff, the sensors rely on ground conductivity. If we approach across the cooling pond on a rubber Zodiac, the sensors won't pick up the footfalls. Plausible sounding, but technically false/risky. Note, this decision will determine how the final mission plays out. If you give him the truth, he trusts you, but the plant is in danger. If you lie, you might trigger the alarm early. I'll tell the truth, and I'll trust with Jensen listening that he'll have Echo Squad set up with heavy weapons to counter the invasion. You look at the digital map, tracing the line of the coolant outflow pipes. 0300 hours, you say, your voice flat and certain. The plant runs a high-pressure coolant flush. It vibrates the bedrock for 10 minutes. The seismic sensors are dialed down to avoid false positives. That's your window. We go in through the outflow pipes, ride the maintenance ladder up, and we're inside the turbine hall before the sensors come back online. Vane processes this. He checks his internal chronometer. That is 90 minutes from now. He looks at Grinder. Prep Alpha Team. Bishop takes point. If he hesitates, kill him. If he leads you into a wall, kill him. If he gets you inside, pay him. You can't see Jensen, but you know he's listening on the passive frequency. He heard the time. He heard the entry point. He has 90 minutes to move Echo Squad into position inside the turbine hall without tripping the alarms himself. It's the biggest gamble of your career. Part 11, The 0 Hour. Time, 0300 hours. Location, the geothermal outflow pipe, north wall. Weather, torrential rain. The world is a deafening roar of falling water. You are waist deep in warm, foul-smelling runoff water, wading through the massive concrete pipe. Behind you are Grinder and 4 elite Copperhead commandos. They are heavily armed assault lasers, satchel charges, and tactical armor. Grinder has his assault rifle trained on your back. 2 minutes left in the flush cycle, Grinder hisses over the combs. Move it, Bishop. You reach the rusted maintenance ladder. You climb, the heavy federated barrett slung tight to your back. You push open the hatch at the top. Location, Turbine Hall B. It is a cathedral of industry. Massive, house-sized turbines spin silently, magnetic bearings, generating the hum that powers the city. The lights are dimmed for the night shift. Shadows are everywhere. You climb out, dripping wet. Grinder and the team follow, fanning out with professional precision. They check the corners. Clear. Sensors are dead, Grinder whispers, checking his scanner. He was telling the truth. He claps you on the shoulder, a heavy, metal hand. Good work, Jackknife. Let's plant the charges on the main coupling and get out. The Copperheads move toward the central turbine. They are now fully exposed in the center of the walkway. You know Echo Squad is here. Jensen would have placed them on the catwalks above, in the dark. They are waiting for your signal. You are standing right next to Grinder. The rest of the team is 5 meters away. How do you spring the trap? At the verbal signal, you speak a code phrase loud and clear, AHI security. Drop your weapons. Legal, intimidating, but gives them a split second to react. B. The execution, you don't say a word. You draw your stern-snacked python and put a .50 caliber round through Grinder's skull. The gunshot is the signal for Echo Squad to unleash hell. Surprise attack, combat. C. Hit the dirt, you shout now, and dive behind a turbine casing, getting out of the line of fire so Echo Squad can use heavy weapons, machine guns/grenades, without hitting you. Survival/tactics. D. The tech play, you toss a flashbang, if you have one, or improvise with a steam valve, into the middle of the group to blind them first. Tactical advantage. Rolling for SLUGTHROWERS, 6D, point blank/surprise, difficulty 5.
Dice, 6, 5, 3, 4, 2, 1.
Wild die, the 6 explodes. Reroll, 4. Total, 25. Result, critical hit. Rolling for damage, stern-snacked python, 5D.
Dice, 5, 6, 4, 3, 2.
Wild die, the 6 explodes. Reroll, 5. Total, 25. Grinder's resistance, body plus cybernetics plus armor 18. Result, 25 versus 18 equals wounded twice/incapacitated instantly. Time slows down. You can smell the ozone from the turbines and the damp rust on Grinder's armor. He is reaching for the satchel charge, confident, arrogant. He turns his head slightly, perhaps sensing the shift in your posture, his cybernetic eye focusing on you. Easy money, right Jack, he starts to say. You don't answer. You draw the stern-snacked python with a motion so smooth it's almost casual. You press the barrel into the gap between his helmet and his shoulder plate. BLAM. The roar of the .50 caliber round is deafening in the enclosed hall. Grinder is lifted off his feet as if yanked by a cable. His helmet shatters. He hits the metal grating dead before he lands. The signal. Before the echo of your shot dies, the catwalks above explode with light. CHAK. Echo Squad, positioned perfectly in the dark rafters, opens up with heavy suppression fire. Tracers rain down like angry meteors. One of the Copperhead commandos is cut down instantly, his armor shredding under the hail of shotgun slugs and rifle fire. The other three, professional to the end, dive for cover behind the massive turbine housings. Contact left. We're burned. We're burned, one of them screams over the comms. You are standing in the open, smoke drifting from the barrel of your revolver, Grinder's corpse at your feet. The remaining three commandos are pinned, but they are returning fire with deadly accurate laser rifles. Sparks shower around you. The situation. You, exposed in the center aisle. Echo Squad, high ground, pouring fire, but taking return fire. Enemy, 3 elite commandos behind hardcover, turbines. They are prepping grenades to flush Echo Squad out. What is your next move? At the heavy hitter, you unlimber your M42B rifle and flank the commandos. While they are focused on looking up at Echo Squad, you can pick them off from ground level. Shoot, dexterity. B. Jensen, overload the turbine, you shout into the comms. You want Jensen to vent steam from the turbine nearest the commandos to scald/stun them. Tech/command, creative. C. Close quarters, you rush the nearest commando while he's reloading. Sword, or knife, versus gun. Brawling/melee. D. Take command, you dive for cover and coordinate Echo Squad's fire. Focus fire on target left. Suppress. Command/tactics, buffing the squad's role. Have Jensen overload the turbine while I start shooting each of the commandos. Jensen. Vent the couplings. Now, you roar into the comms, diving behind a heavy support strut. Venting Sector 4. Clear the vents. Jensen's voice is frantic but decisive. Rolling for Jensen, computer ops/system override. Result, success. A warning siren blares for a split second before the massive pressure valves on the turbine shriek open. Hiss. A wall of superheated steam blasts horizontally across the turbine hull floor, engulfing the 3 Copperhead commandos. They scream, not from fear, but from the sudden, scalding heat cooking them inside their armor. Blinded and disoriented, they stumble out from behind the turbine casings, desperate to escape the thermal vent. They are flushed. They are exposed. And they are perfect targets. You step out from the strut, the steam swirling around your legs but leaving your firing line clear. You shoulder the federated Barrett. Rolling for SLUGTHROWERS, 6D, multi-action, 2 shots, -1D penalty equals 5D. Shot 1, versus Commando A.
Dice, 6, 2, 4, 5, 3.
Wild die, 6, explodes. -3. Total, 23, critical hit. Shot 2, versus Commando B.
Dice, 1, 4, 5, 2, 3.
Total, 15, hit. Crack thud. Crack thud. Your first shot catches the nearest commando mid-stumble. The heavy round punches through his chest plate, lifting him off his feet and throwing him back into the steam jet. He doesn't get up. You traverse the rifle smoothly to the second target. He is raising his laser rifle, trying to fire blindly at Echo Squad. You put a round into his thigh, shattering the armor and the bone beneath. He drops to one knee, firing a laser bolt into the ceiling, then collapses. The last man, the third commando, Commando C, is the smartest of the bunch. Seeing his squad wiped out in seconds, he realizes the fight is lost. He doesn't fire. Instead, he dives toward the outflow hatch, the way you came in, trying to escape back down the pipe. Echo Squad is reloading. You have a clear shot at his back before he drops into the hatch. What do you do? No witnesses, put him down. You don't want the Copperheads knowing exactly who betrayed them or how. Shoot, dexterity. B. Let him run, let him go back to Silas Vane. A terrified survivor tells a better story than a corpse. Let him tell Vane that Sector 4 is a death trap. Psychological warfare. C. The capture, leg him. You shoot to wound or order Echo Squad to net him. You want a live prisoner to interrogate about Vane's location. Called shot. D. The message, you don't shoot. You just broadcast on the Copperhead frequency, tell Vane I'm coming for him. Intimidation. Rolling for SLUGTHROWERS, 6D. Dice, 4, 5, 1, 6, wild die. Exploding wild die, 3. Total, 19. Difficulty, 15, target moving / partial cover, result, success. You don't hesitate. You track the commando as he scrambles for the ladder, his silhouette framed against the dark maw of the outflow pipe. Crack! The bullet catches him between the shoulder blades. He stiffens, his hands grasping at the air, before he tumbles forward. He falls headfirst into the open hatch. A second later, you hear a heavy splash echoing up from the dark water below. Then, silence. No witnesses. No one to run back to Captain Vane and tell him that Jack Knife was a double agent. As far as Vane knows, his team just went dark. Combat over. The steam begins to clear. Jensen's voice comes over the comms, shaky but relieved. Target down. All clear. Sensors show no other movement in the sector. Echo Squad descends from the catwalks, their flashlights cutting through the gloom. They kick the weapons away from the dead mercs and check for pulses. None. Clean sweep, sir, Echo Leader says, looking at the carnage. We didn't even scratch the paint on the turbines. Loot and aftermath, you strip the bodies of the elite commandos before the official cleanup crew arrives. These were Vane's best men, and they were carrying top-tier gear. Acquired, 2,500 C-bills, loose cash / credit chips. Acquired, 1X Sunbeam laser rifle, excellent condition, high damage, low recoil. Acquired, 1X encrypted comms unit, belonging to Grinder. Part 12, The Serpent's Head. Time, 0430 hours. Location, Sector 4 Security Office. You are back in your office. You've had a chance to clean the gun oil off your hands. Jensen is analyzing the encrypted comms unit you took from Grinder. It's biometrically locked, Jensen says, tapping away at his console. But since Grinder is deceased, the dead man switch triggered a localized data dump. I'm reading the logs. He looks up, his face pale. Sir, Vane isn't just a mercenary. He's a Taurian Black Ops insurgent. The Copperheads are a front. His mission wasn't just to sabotage the plant, it was to seize it. He has a second team standing by in the refugee sector, waiting for the signal to occupy the facility once the turbines were blown. But here's the kicker, Jensen points to the screen. Vane is growing impatient. Since his Alpha team hasn't reported in, he's preparing to launch a desperate, all-out assault on the main gate at dawn. He thinks he still has the element of surprise. The opportunity, Vane doesn't know you killed his men. He thinks they are just deep underground and out of comms range. He is still waiting for the boom. You have a chance to end this on your terms before dawn breaks. What is your plan? The false flag, you use Grinder's comms unit. You mimic his signal code and send the message, charges set. Timer active. Attack now. You lure Vane's main force into a kill zone at the main gate where AHI heavy mech / tanks are waiting. Mass battle / tactical command. B. The headshot, you go back to the refugee sector right now. Vane is distracted, waiting for the attack. You sneak into his office and assassinate him while his guards are prepping for war. Stealth / assassination. C. The duel, you call Vane directly. You tell him his team is dead and you have his codes. You challenge him to meet you in the Rust Belt, neutral ground, to settle this soldier to soldier. Combat / dueling. D. The airstrike, you send the coordinates of the Copperhead HQ, the drop, to Thorn. You authorize an orbital or artillery bombardment. It will kill Vane, but also hundreds of refugees in the blast zone. Ruthless/corporate efficiency. Part 13, The Judas Signal. Time, 0500 hours. Location, Sector 4 Security Hub. Do it, you tell Jensen. You hold Grinder's blood-spattered comms unit up to the microphone. Jensen runs a voice modulation algorithm, filtering your voice to match Grinder's gravelly bass. Rolling for communications, 3D plus 2, plus Jensen assist, plus 1D.
Dice 4, 2, 6, 3.
Wild die, the 6 explodes. Reroll, 5. Plus 2 pips. Total, 26. Difficulty, 20. Vane is paranoid and demands specific code phrasing. Result, critical success. You key the mic Sunray, this is Anvil. The hammer is down. Charges are primed for 0600. The flush cycle masked the insertion. We are undetected. Gate security is lax. You are clear to storm the front. There is a long, static-filled pause. Your heart hammers against your ribs. Then, Vane's synthetic voice cuts through the static, cold and eager. Acknowledged, Anvil. Excellent work. All units, execute Phase 2. Crush them. You cut the link. He bought it. He's coming. Part 14, The Kill Zone. Time, 0545 hours. Location, AHI Main Gate, the funnel. You stand on the reinforced parapet above the main blast doors. The rain has finally stopped, replaced by a thick, gray morning fog. Behind you, in the courtyard, the heavy assets Thorn authorized are waking up. 2 Manticore heavy tanks rumble into hull-down positions behind concrete barriers. A lance of security mechs, 2 patron loader mechs retrofitted with machine guns, and 1 pristine enforcer battle mech, the pride of the garrison, standing guard at the rear. You have Echo Squad positioned on the walls with heavy stub guns and rocket launchers. Hold fire until they cross the mag line, you order over the command channel. I want them fully committed before we shut the door behind them. The charge, at 0600 exactly, the ground begins to shake. Through the fog, you see them. A chaotic column of dune buggies, stolen heavy trucks, and 2 refitted industrial mechs painted in Copperhead colors. They are roaring toward the gate, expecting to find the guards dead and the doors open. They cross the magnetic perimeter line. Now, you scream. The ambush, the enforcer battle mech behind you raises its autocannon and fires. The sound is like the sky tearing open. Boom boom. The lead Copperhead truck vanishes in a ball of fire. The Manticore tanks open up with PPCs, particle projector cannons, shredding the light buggies like tin foil. The trap is perfect. Vane's forces are bottlenecked, panicked, and being chewed up by superior firepower. The boss emerges, but Vane isn't dying with his pawns. Through the smoke of the burning convoy, a massive, black-painted vehicle smashes through the wreckage of its own allies. It's a modified Demolisher heavy tank. It has a dozer blade on the front and a twin-linked autocannon turret. It ignores the small arms fire, crushing a buggy under its treads, and charges straight for the gate control bunker where you are standing. Vane's voice hacks into your local PA system, booming over the battlefield. You lied to me, Bishop. I will strip the flesh from your bones. The Demolisher's turret swings toward your parapet. The situation. Vane's tank, closing fast. Its armor is too thick for your rifle. The threat, if he hits the gate control bunker with those autocannons, the blast doors will fail, and his remaining infantry will swarm the facility. Your assets, you have a rocket launcher, Law, crate next to you, 2 shots. You also have the gate controls, you can try to drop the blast door on top of him. How do you stop the Demolisher? The guillotine, you wait until he is directly under the heavy blast door archway and override the safeties to slam the 10-ton door down on his tank. Timing/tech high drama. B. The rocket duel. You grab the law rocket and try to put a warhead directly into the tank's vision slit/sensor array to blind him. Heavy weapons, dexterity. C. Focus fire. You paint the tank with your laser rifle, target designator, and order the friendly enforcer mech to Alpha Strike Vane. Command/leadership. D. The boarding action. You jump from the parapet onto the top of the passing tank. You use your C-12 charges, from the Spire mission, to blow the turret hatch and drop a grenade inside. Athletics/demolitions, suicidal but legendary. Rolling for command, 4D. Dice, 5, 3, 4, 6, wild die. Exploding wild die, 4. Total, 22. Difficulty, 15, coordinating heavy fire in the middle of a breach, result, significant success. You don't flinch as the massive 120mm barrel of the Demolisher tank elevates toward your face. You shoulder the sunbeam laser rifle you looted from the commando. You don't try to penetrate the tank's armor, you flick the selector switch to designate/pulse. A high-intensity strobe laser paints the turret ring of Vane's tank. Archangel, you scream into the command frequency, addressing the pilot of the Enforcer battlemech. Target my mark. Alpha Strike. Burn him down. The pilot of the 50-ton battlemech doesn't hesitate. The machine steps out from behind the blast wall, servos whining. Target acquired, the pilot's voice booms. The Enforcer unleashes hell. First, its large laser fires a lance of neon violet energy that instantly vaporizes the ablative armor on the Demolisher's turret. A split second later, its autocannon/10 roars. Boom boom boom. The heavy depleted uranium slugs slam into the weak point created by the laser. The first shell cracks the armor. The second shell punches through. The third shell finds the ammunition magazine inside. Krakom. Vane's tank doesn't just stop, it disintegrates. The turret is blown clean off the chassis, spinning 20 feet into the air before crashing down into the mud. A pillar of black oily smoke erupts from the ruin. The shockwave knocks you flat against the concrete of the parapet, but you are alive. The rout, seeing their leader vaporized and their heavy armor destroyed, the remaining Copperhead forces break. They turn their buggies around, fleeing back into the fog, only to be picked off by your Manticore tanks. Ceasefire, you groan, dusting the concrete dust off your visor. Let them run. Part 15, The Aftermath. Time, 0800 hours. Location, the wreckage of the Demolisher. Fire crews are dousing the flames. You walk up to the twisted metal of Vane's tank. You find Captain Silas Vane. Or what's left of him. His cybernetic body was durable, but not that durable. He is dragged halfway out of the commander's hatch, fused to the metal. The red light in his eyes is fading. He looks at you, his vocal processor glitching. Calculated probability of failure was 0, he rasps, static leaking from his mouth. You are an anomaly. You stand over him, the rain washing the soot from your face. I'm not an anomaly, Vane, you say, holstering your revolver. I'm the guy who checks the maintenance logs. The light in his eyes dies. Epilogue, the corporate ladder. Time, 3 days later. Location, Executive Spire, Chief Thorne's office. The mood is different this time. Thorne isn't sitting behind his desk, he is standing by the window, pouring 2 glasses of real, earth-imported whiskey. You saved the sector, Bishop, Thorne says, handing you a glass. And you did it under budget. The board is impressed. The Copperheads have scattered. The Taurian Concordat is denying any involvement, of course, but the threat is gone. He sits on the edge of his desk. Jensen has been promoted to sergeant. He's taking over your old patrol beat. As for you. Thorne slides a black dossier across the desk. It has no AHI logo. It just says Section 7. You're too dangerous for patrol work. And honestly, you're too loud for internal affairs. Section 7 handles external asset recovery. It means you go off-world. You hunt down threats before they get to the planet. You operate alone, or with a team of your choosing. He looks at you. Vein was just a symptom. The disease is out there in the periphery. We want you to go find it. Mission accomplished. Final rewards. Character points, plus 20 CP, campaign completion bonus. Credits, plus 10,000 C-bills, bounty on Vein plus hazard pay. Item, the Sunbeam laser rifle is now yours legally. Item, Class A clearance card, unlimited access. Rank, promoted to Special Agent, Section 7. Character status. Name, Charles Jack Knife Bishop. Archetype, the Heavy Investigator. Signature weapon, Stern-snacked Python and M42B rifle. Reputation, Legend in Sector 4. Known as the